All right, guys, what's going on? This is Flacco, and I am back at the shop on a Sunday. From Alabama. As you can see on the other video, who's out there grudge racing. I am basically just got back and got straight to work. I got a bunch of boxes. I was out of town this weekend, and I got a bunch of boxes for Lil Larry. See what we got. We are putting a 871 blower in Lil Larry for OTM's one of their Burnout trucks, and we're gonna have it this weekend over in Dallas. I gotta put all the blower assembly. I have to rewire the whole truck with the Holly. We swapped the motor, swapped the transmission, and I have to basically put a whole truck together back again in about 3 days and tune it, wire it, swap the motor, swap transmission, new converter, wire it up, install the blower, fuel system, make sure everything's working properly, and tune it. Holy shit. I better put the phone down and get back to work. See you later. Now, we're installing, as you can see, one of the BDS blowers, blower drive system. Now, their stuff is really, really badass, but if you're not really mechanically inclined and can't fabricate or figure stuff out, I would strongly recommend not even trying to install this kit. As basic as it seems to install, it really ain't. So, the blower drive, the crank pulley stuff, the hub, all that stuff, they don't tell you what you need to do until you try to put it on, then you figure it out on your own. So, as you can see, I have to make a spacer. And that spacer goes inside the hub and goes and butts to the crankshaft snout. So yes, I did fuck up a stock crank. I cut the snout. Now, if you have access to a machine shop, well, then they can probably make you a spacer, and of course, the bolt has to go through it right in the middle. So the easiest for me, I had an old crank that's all rusted up. It's from a 6.2. So I just went ahead and cut the snout. You know, I needed it. Now, you still got to measure the length and all that stuff, and you got to grind it down, because remember, this snout on any hub is going to go in pressed on, because, of course, the hub goes over that, so it's pressed on. So you have to machine it down just enough, maybe 10, 15 thousandths. That way it goes inside perfectly. And the reason for this is because you have to have a double keyway. What's going on over there with the neighbors? The water pipe busted? Looks like a water pipe busted or something. Anyway, it has to have two keyways. So the bolt also, not even an LS7 bolt fits. Now this is like a 7 7/8 long bolt, 7.5 inch long bolt that I had to go get. And there's just a bunch of measurements to get it all how it needs to be and blah, 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 blah. So I did talk to them back and forth and everything. They told me, they answered a couple questions that I had about it, which was mainly the bolts, mainly about the hub, blah, 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 what I needed to do. So just a lot of measurements, a lot of grinding, a lot of cutting, and just a bunch of crap. But other than that, it seems to be okay. Other than we got to cut the cowl, which is no big deal. But it won't fit with the hood on. You got to take the hood off. You have to cut the cowl where the wipers are because the blower is so goddamn big. But that's the beauty of it. If you can't figure something out on the fly, don't even attempt it. All right, this is what I was talking about right here. This is the hub, and this hub is completely different than any other ATI. So of course you can see this is about how much it's in there because the snout's back there. So you have to build this so that can go into place. This is a spacer that goes between that. And the reason for that is so that you can have the same alignment on the pulleys. Because of course you can do like the LS1, you can do the Corvette, or you can do the truck one. So they give you 3 different options. Now, when I say that it's not going to fit and you have to cut the cowl, this is what I'm talking about. First off, we've got that. I'm going to show you. All right. So that's the base plate. That's how much room we got. That's tight. Bottom pulley is on. All right. So come over this way. We've got a 2-inch spacer that goes in between just so we can have the blower higher. And look at this behemoth. You tell me. It ain't gonna fit. So yes, definitely there's a lot of cutting involved. And then we got this bad boy right here in between the hat. Alright, there it is. Nicely cut. Like I said, it's a pain in the ass. If you don't have the tools or the common sense to do it, don't even attempt it. Oh yeah, I got a mess. So U-joints and more U-joints. So finally we got the right one. All the other ones were wrong, 2 different sizes. And I have a mess everywhere. So we are Wednesday, 3 days into this build. And it's just about done. So, as you remember, we had, let me show you. So we had this hat on it, which is a pretty cool looking hat, everything works. Nothing's wrong with it. But it's just not that tall. So whenever we got this thing ordered, we wanted the bigger hat, which is the big and ugly. That's what it's called. So these guys don't sell the big and ugly. So once we put it all on, it didn't look quite right. It's okay, but it didn't look like we wanted it to look. So I had to call Alki Diggers, which they sell the big and ugly hat, which is I think 10.5 or so inches tall. This one's only like 5 inches. The other one comes up and forward. This one is just kind of stationary on top, which this one doesn't look all that great, in my opinion. So I called them. They had it in stock. They had a spacer, like a 2-inch spacer also. So I went ahead and overnighted all that stuff. I called in yesterday in the morning, overnighted it, and it should be getting here somewhere around 1 o'clock or so, 2 o'clock. The motor got swapped. It had a 5.3 before, so now it's got a 370 cubic inch. It's got some ported heads. It's got a forged bottom end. The transmission, took the 4060 out of it, put a 480, put a Circle D converter. Had to change a couple of things because it had a deep pan. I had to put a stock pan back in it so the same exhaust fits. Started installing the blower. Ran into a bunch of issues. Got that fixed. Bunch of fabricating, cutting, machining. I mean, you name it. It just became a pain in the ass. But it's set and done. Fuel system, all complete new fuel system. 20-gallon tank in the back, brushless 5.0, all new lines all the way to the front. All Holley electronics. Ripped out all the factory stuff and installed everything Holley. Wired it. And right now, the only thing that I'm missing is I got to do the drive shaft. And I have to do the hat and wire up just some pigtails up here in the top. And then we're going to be ready to fire it up. So, got the laptop out. I'm about to do a firmware update on the computer, and I got to install the dash on the cluster. So I got to replace that. So I'm doing that today. So overall today, I should be able to fire it up, make sure everything's good, working order, transmission shifting fine, no leaks, no nothing. And we should be making some rips later on in the dyno today. So that's the plan. This thing should be out Saturday at October Truck Madness, doing some burnouts. That way you guys can check it out. It is about 1:30 in the morning, and I'm tired. Been working 3 days straight in this thing, and it's 100% done right now. All I gotta do is tune it tomorrow, and it's ready to go do some burnouts. Now, so you can see, this is a little different. So originally we went with it's a BDS blower. It's their whole kit. Comes with all the fuel injection, comes with the injectors, pretty much everything that you need. But there is a bunch of fabrication that you have to do to make it work. It's not an easy kit like they say it is. By no means it's easy to put on. It's a pain in the ass. It looks badass right now that it's done, but it's a pain in the ass just to kind of get everything the way it should be. And if you're installing it on one of these trucks, well, as you can see, no more wipers. But I mean, if you get caught in the rain with this thing right here, so I don't think it'd be pretty. I don't think it'd be good anyway, though. So I guess who gives a shit about wipers and shit. But you have to do a bunch of fabrication, and you can see about how close it is to the window. Now it does have about 5/8 of an inch, so it doesn't hit. So it's good. Now we opted for the 2-inch spacer that goes between the manifold and the blower. And then also I have a 1-inch spacer, which is the fuel injection stuff. And then on top of that, I went with a 2-inch up and 2-inch forward spacer. And then of course the hat. So like I said, by no means it's an easy kit. It is a pain in the ass, but they wanted something radical, so we talked about this blower kit about a month or so ago, and we checked a couple companies, and then we decided to go with BDS. So this is a complete BDS kit. Now this thing only is going to make about maybe 10 pounds of boost. We went with something that doesn't need a whole lot of boost, even though it's a stage 2 blower. But they're going to use it for the burnout, so it doesn't need to see a whole lot of boost. Maybe 8 to 10 pounds of boost. That's what it's going to make, so that's going to be perfect. Originally came with this little guy right here. Right there. It's kind of cute. This hat right here, you probably can't see, but it's actually covered, and it's got only 2 holes. But these holes are about maybe 3 1/4 inch, somewhere on there, give or take. Not 100% sure. She's got TPS and all that kind of stuff for the fuel injection. Now, these guys, that's the only hat that they make, so I had to call another company, which is Alki Digger. And Alki Digger sells the one that we got now, which is called the Big and Ugly. But the Bug, basically, any of you blower guys, I mean, you really know what I'm talking about. The Big and Ugly is the bigger. It's got 5-inch butterflies. Now they do make them in 5-inch, and of course they make them in bigger. I think 5 1/4 or 5 1/2, some shit like that. I don't know. This one only had 2 holes because it's got smaller butterflies. Now we went, of course, with this bad boy right here. See, you can see the difference. So these are 5-inch butterflies, but because the motor is only a 370 cubic inch, it doesn't need all 3 to work. So I went with 2 plugs, basically. So I've got the 2 outer ones plugged, which you really can't see. Once you open the blades, you really can't see that they're plugged. And I'm only using the center one. So it only has a runner in the middle, and that's the one that's going to be feeding the blower. Because if you do the 3, well, it's way too much air and not enough lungs. So we're only using one. It should be fine. Of course, we went with the idler control deal, which is, of course, you need to have it. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow. I wish I could fire it up today, but I can't. Like I said, it's 1:30 or 1:45 in the morning. Fuck. I don't even know. But complete fuel system's done. Everything's done. All the Holly stuff is done. So, I mean, so we got all that. Fuel pump on. Holly screen. Boom. There you go. So, that's done. This thing is going to be over at October Truck Madness in OTM in Dallas. So if you want to check this sick combination on this truck, make sure to swing by October Truck Madness in Dallas. Also, I am going to be there with Gangbang, which is one of On the Gas's trucks, which is the 4x4. I am going to be driving it. So I will be there. We will have merchandise. So make sure to stop by, holler, say what's up, whatever. But I think that's about it for this thing. We'll make some noise tomorrow. I'll probably get some video of it. Make sure that everything's working properly. Like I said, it's just a bunch of fabrication. You know, none of this stuff fits. The throttle linkage, which is all this stuff right here, I had to make. So they don't make none of that. Which is, you know, I had to do this right here. I had to do this right here. I had to tie it up underneath it. I had to make a bracket. Had to weld it all together. But overall, it came out pretty good. So like I said, there is no parts that everything fits and you can just bolt it on. There was a lot of cutting. There was a lot of grinding. A lot of fabbing. A lot of machining. And just overall, a lot of fucking work. I hope you liked the video. And like I said, I'm going to try to get you some noise tomorrow. You know, during the day, in the morning, whatever. So, see y'all.